Thank you. Rafael mentioned fun, because that's what inventing is, a large part of inventing is about. My task that I've been asked to do is to talk a little bit about what the Lemelson Foundation has been up to in the last couple of years. But I'd like to start with the question, who's seen American Inventor? Raise your hand. Good. For those who haven't seen it, you know, it's based on American Idol, on that model, and you have a variety of people judging it of various temperaments. And I'm actually pretty happy with it, because it's gotten Americans, the average American, excited about inventing. And there's been some decent ideas. The finalists that I've seen the last time was for kids who ride on the handlebars of a bike. There's a seat in front, and the other one was a receiver's training pole where teaches young people how to catch a football. There were some pretty silly ones. I don't know if anyone saw the one. It was if you have your boyfriend or husband come home, it's a single piece of cloth that wraps up like a bow, a red bow, like a ribbon, and you take it off, and voila. So it was certainly good for getting at least half the American public interested in invention. But it also shows how deeply rooted invention is in American society. Yeah, so there are some good ideas, but I like to think what we've been supporting with the Lemelson Foundation, with programs like Lemelson-MIT, have maybe a slightly different degree of significance. So if you think about our prize winners, I remember a number of years ago meeting Al Gross, who's unfortunately since passed away, but I met him on the elevator, and he said, "I have my life's work here in this box." And he went up to the hotel room. We're having a party. He opened it up. It was a prototype for the first walkie-talkie, the first beeper, and the first cell phone. And it's just incredible, and compared to the bow that comes off. So, but we also have, you know, the inventor of the Segway, the inventor of DRAM, innovation, you know, people who've done innovations in stroke and cancer treatment, implantable microelectrodes for neurosurgery for Parkinson's and other neurological disorders, molecular sieve technology for petrochemical processes to reduce energy costs and industrial waste, and this year a prototype for a flying car. So I'd like actually our previous winners of the Lemelson-MIT Prize, the Lifetime Achievement Award, and the Student Prize winners to stand and be recognized, those who are here. Yeah. So we have, please stand. Hold on. So we have the 2002 Lemelson-MIT Prize winner, Dean Kamen. We have Ethel Gross, who was a widow of Al Gross, who I just mentioned, Edith Flanagan, Robert Denard, and then the student prize winners, Dan DiLorenzo, David Barry, and Carl Dietrich. So thanks, and we're really glad you can make it here. So in addition to this program, we also have numerous other programs, some of which have been mentioned in the United States. We have the National Collegiate Inventors and Innovators Alliance, the NCAA, which was their 10th year anniversary this year. I actually went to the March Madness for the Mind a couple months ago. It was great. And they had some of the inventions from the E-teams that they sponsor, which are these student teams usually made up of an inventor, a designer, a business student. There was a Cooper cooler, which is actually a device that can cool a can of beer in 1 minute, which I've found very useful. There were actually, and some very profound ideas came out of the NCAA. There's now a multi-million-dollar business. There's a group called Keen Mobility. The founder of it was born severely disabled, without legs, and severely disabled in both of his arms. And he was using crutches his whole life, and was getting arthritis under his arms from just the impact of the crutches. And he thought it has to be a better way. I mean, and crutches have been around literally for at least 4,000 or 5,000 years with no innovation. So he adapted shock-absorbing technology from like the spoke, from the front fork of mountain bikes, and now they have 30 or 40 products and multi-million-dollar business. There was also a project to make a cheap and affordable water purifier for the third world using sawdust, bricks, and plastic jugs. Very simple, cheap, and adaptable. There was a team that streamlined PCR technology, polymerase chain reaction, to make proteins for medical use. So we feel like we're really making an impact on invention and innovation in the United States. The last time I spoke here, my brother's done this for the last 2 years, but I spoke 3 years ago at the Kennedy Library in Boston, and at that point we were just starting a new program on invention for sustainable development and addressing basic human needs in the developing world. So I'd like to just mention a little bit, again, in terms of the significance of what invention can do and inventors can do. I was sitting on a plane coming back from Indonesia a couple of weeks ago, and the woman who was sitting next to me was working at the World Bank, and they fund these very large development projects, but she was very interested in grassroots, kind of bottom-up approaches, because a lot of their approaches honestly have not worked in addressing the basic issues of poverty and malnutrition and inadequate health care. So I described our invention for sustainable development and basic human needs, and spoke that we were trying to address what the UN calls we have, the water, energy, health, agriculture, and biodiversity. So I'm just going to mention a couple of the projects that we're funding, the Lemelson Foundation's funding. We have a program in South Africa. We've actually put in 500 pumps in areas without rural electrification, and it's actually a roundabout pump, like kids in playgrounds when they go around and around. It actually pumps water to the top of the school where there's a cistern, so every time the kids come and play, they get water. It's a great simple idea, but very useful. Another one is what they call the Millionaire Maker's Pump. This is in Kenya. It's an area, semi-arid area with pretty hard pan. It's very difficult to drill a 3 or 4 foot well, so this uses a hand-cranked small bore drill. You can drill 30 or 40 meters down to the water table, put in PVC, and then that's attached when you strike gold, when you hit water, it's attached to a treadle pump, which is like a Stairmaster foot pump, and then you can water crops 300 or 400 meters away. And when these two inventions are combined, it's actually between the sales and distribution and increase in agricultural productivity, bringing small-scale subsistence farmers to the market. It now accounts to 1/3 to 1/2 of 1% of Kenya's GNP. For a $200,000 or $300,000 grant, it's now accounting for $30 or $40 million, with very basic, important, addressing the issues of economic development and hunger. We're working with a group called Emergence Energy, who are adapting the Stirling engine. This is Dean Kamen's idea in Bangladesh for both decentralized energy generation and water purification. And then finally, we have a number of what we call RAMP, recognition and mentoring programs in India and Bangladesh that are doing, in some ways, replicating what we're trying to do in the United States in the developing world of recognizing and helping inventors get off the ground and get recognition for their efforts and hooking them up with mentors in the community. And so after describing this to this woman on the plane, she was very, very interested, and actually we've since been working with several World Bank representatives in Indonesia, because they're very interested in this sort of approach, a small-scale sustainable development approach to really the large issues that face the global south, the developing world. So we feel pretty good. We feel good. We feel that our efforts are really taking root, and we all know and recognize that invention is fun. Absolutely. It's fascinating. It's socially productive, and it's profitable for the people who do it. So the potential for innovators and inventors to help solve the pressing problems of the world, both in the first world, in our society, but also in other societies, is immense. So I'd just like to end with a quote from Nikola Tesla. And he said, "I do not think there is any thrill that can go through the human heart like that felt by the inventor as he sees some creation of the brain unfolding to success. Such emotions make a man forget food, sleep, friends, everything, and that's a great feeling. So congratulations to the prize winners this year. Thank you.